Next on Investigative Report. Legally drunk moms above the law, under the influence. Approximately 32 people each day in the United States die in drunk driving crashes. That's one person every 45 minutes. For many years, society has focused on male drunk drivers while providing a free news pass to its female inebriated, but recent tragedies have forced a change. This is evident in a car accident in Southern California where a 41-year-old mother of three caused a fatal rollover accident after she drove straight into a tree with her kids inside of the vehicle. The crash killed 9-year-old Chloe Honeycutt and broke the back of her 17-year-old brother Charles when both were ejected from the vehicle absent seatbelts. At the time of the accident, the mother had consumed 8 beers and had a blood alcohol level 4 times the legal limit. The mother, Karen Honeycutt, was subsequently arrested on suspicion of murder and 3 counts of DUI causing injury. Authorities revealed that she had 4 prior DUI convictions in San Diego County alone. And now, legally drunk moms, above the law, under the influence.
Night in Highland Park, 2 children hurt in a drunk driving accident. Police say their mother was behind the wheel and she is now in custody.
It happened just before 10 at Hamilton and Brighton. The children are 6 and 7 years old. They were not wearing seatbelts. They were taken to Children's Hospital in serious condition. Our crews are heading to that scene right now. We'll bring you the latest developments as soon as we get more information.
3 years ago, 11,654 people died in alcohol-impaired traffic accidents. Now that's a 14% increase from the year before. These statistics cover drunk drivers as well as their victims, whether they are passengers or innocent bystanders. Drunk drivers do not fit a certain profile or stand out as much as one would believe. Because of this bias towards innocence, most Americans do not realize that they are riding 1 car length away from a life-altering accident. A drunk driving crash can happen at any time of day, but the majority of these accidents occur late at night and in the early morning hours after bars have closed. And if you've ever been out that late at night, you know you see the most wrecks in America. Statistics show us that the highest DUIs occur on the most 4-day weekend calendar holidays. The holidays listed as the highest occurrence of drunk driving are no surprise, with New Year's Eve being the biggest night for DUIs in the United States of America. And the second is the 4th of July, followed by Thanksgiving, Labor Day, and Memorial Day. According to a recent study, the number of women and mothers who are driving while under the influence of alcohol has been increasing in recent decades, with no signs of slowing down. Data released by the Bureau of Justice revealed that just 9% of Americans who were arrested for driving under the influence in 1980 were women. And by 2020, that number had ballooned up to 25% of all drunk driving arrestees as being women. And as of 2023, that number is not abating. In response to these statistics, the Traffic Injury Research Foundation conducted a study to determine the potential causes for the sharp uptick in women arrested for DUI. The researchers gathered data from approximately 200 women who had been convicted of driving under the influence across the country. And those data statistics tell us a lot. Now, a large percentage of the women interviewed indicated that they had been recently through a stressful event in their lives, such as the end of a relationship or a death in the family. In addition, approximately 75% of the women took prescription medication to deal with mental health issues such as depression or anxiety. So in these cases, not only are you driving by somebody who is drunk, but they're on medication at the same time, which exacerbates the fact that they can't drive straight. Now, in researching this program for you, we have studied a lot of cases where women have used drugs such as Xanax while drinking with alcohol. Xanax is a drug given for depression that is more addictive than heroin. Of the negative concerning this drugs are impaired coordination, which contributes to the accident rates that you will see this afternoon. So it would seem that these moms are not aware that women are often affected by alcohol more quickly than men. In general, women are smaller than men, and they usually have less muscle mass and more fatty tissue. And as a result, they're likely to absorb alcohol faster, which means they'll be affected by it sooner. Women are also likely to be affected more significantly by the same amount of alcohol as men due to the difference in hormones, hydration, body fat, and enzymes in their body. Drunk driving with children in the car unrestrained is no isolated incident on America's streets and highways. At any given time of day, you may face a car barreling your way with an intoxicated mom with a vehicle full of frightened children. This was the case one Sunday afternoon in the neighborhood of Brentwood, New York. There, Mrs. Ashley Thomas Smith would drive herself and three of her screaming children on two wheels into the kitchen of a private residence and subsequently straight through the house to the side patio.
Out of a wild crash on Long Island that was caught on video. An out-of-control SUV riding on just two wheels slams into a home in Brentwood. Police say behind the wheel was a woman who was drunk with her three children in the car. CBS 2's Christina Fant talked to the owners of the home.
You can hear the screeching of the tires, followed by the panicked screaming of three children, as the SUV they were in smashed into the side of this Brentwood home. Police say the driver, 34-year-old Ashley Thomas Smith, was their intoxicated mother.
When I opened the camera in my phone to see, I just saw that the whole kitchen was down.
Angelica Reyes owns what's left of this damaged house. She and her family were away Sunday afternoon when their Nest camera detected movement near their driveway off Blue Jay Drive. Reyes opened up the app, saw debris littered across her lawn, and rushed back home to find her kitchen ablaze.
It may be one thing to put your life on the line due to your drinking habits, but to invite children along increases the likelihood that there may be a fatality. Fatalities in these incidents are not based merely on there being children in the car with an impaired mother, but more often than not, the child is not being belted or belted correctly into their seat. Tonight, on Investigative Report, we will take you across a half dozen actual news stories in which a mother either drove drunk with her children in the car or killed those children due to excessive speeds, followed by an accident with another vehicle or an immovable object. Take for instance the case of a DUI incident in which a mother rear-ended another vehicle before hitting the barrier wall of a Southfield freeway on the way home. The crash left her 3-month-old Raylon in critical condition with a skull fracture and a brain bleed, as the police say he was thrown from the vehicle. Raylon was in a car seat, but not strapped into the car seat. Miss Poole's 2-year-old daughter Vanessa, on the other hand, was not so lucky as she was killed in the accident. Police noted that Vanessa wasn't buckled in at all. Miss Rihanna Law Group noted that a few years ago, guys mostly dominated the headlines and the statistics when it came to motor vehicle accidents involving driving under the influence or DUI. But these days, not so much anymore, as an increasing number of car accidents involve women drivers under the influence of alcohol or drugs have captured national attention. So there is nothing more devastating than having a long-time free pass that is taken away from you. Take for example our next case of a mother who was speeding and intoxicated and clipped another vehicle after going through an intersection. That crash left her infant child dead after he too was ejected from the vehicle.
Mother in custody after her 3-year-old is killed in a crash. Police say there were 5 other young children in that car, including an 8-month-old and an 18-month-old. This happened right around 2:30 this morning at the intersection of 8 Mile and Inkster Road. Megan Woods is live from the scene with more on what police believe led to that crash. Megan?
Yeah, Sandra, police believe alcohol was a factor in this crash. They're also saying that 3-year-old was not in a car seat or using any type of safety restraint. And we're here at the scene where there's so much debris still left in the grass, on the sidewalk. There's broken glass, old car parts, and surveillance video shows that that SUV full of that family ended up in this bush. This is 8 Mile and Inkster. You see two cars driving east and westbound pass through the intersection. Then, just as another car is crossing, a vehicle going north on Inkster blows through the intersection. Both cars go spinning, one into a pole, the other into a bush. Here it is again. Police say the SUV that mother and her 6 children were in was going northbound but in the southbound lane. Alcohol is believed to be a factor. Now, a 3-year-old is dead. The preliminary investigation shows they weren't in a car seat or some sort of safety restraint. Police Chief Jeff King calls this crash horrific, and not just for that child's family.
Now, I don't believe for one moment that these mothers meant to kill their children on these occasions, but their wanton neglect assured this would happen. The problem in all of these cases is that most mothers take their children with them wherever they go, no matter how dangerous the incident may be, just to have them around them. Now, on this channel, our show Killer Wives proves that. When a wife kills her husband, the children are in the home. Now, in many cases, these children had another parent or guardian that could have watched them, but the mother chose not to leave them at home. Why? I could not tell you. This next case, which is still developing, proves that it would have been better to leave these children at home in the hands of a capable adult while mom indulged in alcohol. In fact, I don't know of any mother that would take her child to a babysitter who was as drunk as she in one of these accidents.
That deadly crash of an SUV in Temecula, the mother of an 8-year-old girl killed in the collision Sunday is behind bars after being arrested on suspicion of DUI and vehicular manslaughter. The CHP reports that her 8-year-old daughter was not wearing a seatbelt and died after being ejected. 33-year-old Jessica Nieto was reportedly driving her Honda Pilot westbound on Highway 79 when she collided with a vehicle in oncoming lanes.
The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety previously reported that while men accounted for a higher proportion of drivers with blood alcohol concentrations at or above 0.08%, as well as those who are involved in fatal crashes, the number of women who drive drunk is substantial. Statistics show that in 2009, 22% of female drivers involved in fatal passenger vehicle accidents had a BAC or blood alcohol content at or above 0.08%, while 16% had a BAC more than twice the legal limit. And today, when there's car accidents, it is not at the legal limit. It is 1, 2, 3, 4 times legal limit. And such was the case for this next story of a mother whose vehicle accident led to the death of her 10-year-old child.
In Brighton tonight, police have identified the suspect in a deadly DUI crash that killed a 10-year-old. It's the child's own mother. Denver 7's Patrick Perez has the story.
This is what's left of the car involved in a deadly crash Saturday evening in Brighton that left a 10-year-old dead.
This is a preventable tragedy.
Police say 27-year-old Karina Cecile was under the influence and lost control of her car while driving an I-76, causing it to roll over.
The vehicle was occupied by 4 people, the driver, which was the mom, a male adult passenger, and then 2 children.
Cecile's 10-year-old son, identified by his school district 27J Schools as Gavin Cecile, died at the hospital. Medics treated the man and Gavin's sibling for minor injuries. A view from Air Tracker 7 shows how badly the car was damaged.
When someone decides to drive under the influence of drugs or alcohol, it creates a ripple effect, right? It's does not just affect that person, but it affects several people.
While alcohol abuse right before driving is dangerous for anyone, there is more cause to worry when it comes to females who drink and drive. According to the IHS, women can attain a higher level of BAC and can become more impaired than men even if they consume the same amount of alcohol. Studies have shown that the effects of alcohol vary greatly as the rate of absorption is affected by factors such as weight amount, fat tissue, and stomach contents. Alcohol is processed differently by women and men, and even if they drink the same amount or the same weight, women are more likely to be impaired. Now, the mother in this next case would find this out the hard way after she crashed with her 4 young children in the car.
A Kentucky mother is in the Claremont County Jail accused of driving drunk and crashing with her 4 young children in the car. And as 9 News reporter Shannon Kettler shows us, her husband is refusing to bail her out.
Prosecutors here at the Claremont County Courthouse say Nicole Bishop Cooley was drinking in her car while driving with her 4 young children in her car, the oldest 11, the youngest a 10-month-old baby. This morning, Nicole Bishop Cooley fought back tears as she faced a judge for the first time. This mom of 4 is from Bedford, Kentucky, 70 miles south of Cincinnati. On Friday, she was driving to Florence to visit a friend, but never made it there or anywhere close. With her 4 young kids in the car, prosecutors say she drove drunk for miles before crashing on I-275 at the Ward's Corner ramp in Miami Township.
The state believes this is a fairly egregious situation. The allegations are that she was driving for a lengthy period of time with 4 children in the car, empty bottles of beer alleged in the vehicle.
Prosecutors say the 30-year-old also has a prior DUI conviction in Kentucky from 2008. During the bond hearing, Bishop Cooley's husband sat in the front row. He tells 9 on Your Side his wife needs help, saying, quote, "I love the hell out of my wife, however, alcoholism is a beast. I'm hoping this is her rock bottom." Cooley added his wife was recently diagnosed with bipolar disorder and was taking medication, but says that's no excuse for her alleged behavior. Quote, "Neither figuratively or literally am I bailing her out of this." Bishop Cooley returns to court on March 12th for another hearing. In the meantime, she'll remain locked up on a $50,000 bond. Reporting from the Claremont County Municipal Courthouse, I'm Shannon Kettler, 9 on Your Side.
It would appear that an alcohol impairment is dangerous. The higher a person's BAC, the greater his or her probability of being involved in a car accident. Drivers with a BAC at or above 0.15% have a very high risk of being involved in a police-reported crash or dying in a crash. This is because alcohol is central nervous system depressant, and it can impair driving skills that are necessary for safety, as it can lower a person's motor, visual, and cognitive abilities. And we take a minute now to show you some of the very innocent faces of children who have been killed by moms who were drunk on America's highways and byways, as well as the perpetrators once they got arrested.
Will my heart ever find its way back home? Will the tears that I saved for years take hold? These streets that once were paved in gold are letting memories go into diamond skies, diamond skies, diamond skies, and letting memories go. Will my heart recover on its way back home? Time is a healer, so I was told. I'm picking up the pieces of these broken dreams, and I'm letting them go into diamond skies, diamond skies, diamond skies, letting memories go.
Unfortunately, most accidents involving drunk drivers affect not just them, but also many innocent people. Thousands of passengers, motorists, and pedestrians get seriously injured or killed by drunk drivers yearly. Take, for example, this next case, in which Miss Dominique Taylor killed a record 5 children and 1 adult as a consequence of drinking and driving drunk. Now, amazingly enough, none of the children that were killed were buckled into their seatbelts at the time of the crash.
So the woman accused of killing 5 kids and an adult when she got behind the wheel drunk, allegedly, appeared in court today. Dominique Taylor is facing 6 counts of manslaughter. This crash happened last February in Bowie. Prosecutors even say the kids weren't buckled in when she was driving drunk. Her blood alcohol level was twice the legal limit. Taylor's bond has been set at $100,000.
In most cases of alcoholism, there is a history of family intervention to stop the offending mother. In other cases, moms keep secret their closeted leanings towards inebriation, driving, so much so that it is a surprise after she gets into an incident and arrested. A surprise to everyone except the children, who know that mom is usually high each time she gets behind the wheel. And a lot of these children are terrified, but they won't tell their mom, to police, the school, or even another family member. Now take this next case in which Mrs. Nicole Norris decided to drink to excess at a baseball game and then decided to drive home thereafter. And if it were not for Miss Norris's 11-year-old child intervening, this story may have ended in tragedy.
Portland mother has been arrested for drunk driving.
But it's how deputies found out about it that was so unusual. Eileen Park getting answers about how this all transpired. Eileen?
They found out about it because the 11-year-old son was in the car with her, and then he called 911 on her. Deputies say they were on their way back from a Hillsborough Hops game, and her son started getting worried when she hopped a curb. Saturday night, 30-year-old Nicole Norris of Portland starts driving back home after watching the Hops game with her son. But something about her driving worried her 11-year-old son, so he called 911.
He had said his mom was drunk driving, he was in the back seat, and he felt in danger enough that he needed to reach out to call us.
Washington County Deputy Shannon Wild responded to the call and took these pictures of Norris taking these drunk driving tests.
We have her walk a line, look at her feet, count her steps out loud, that type of thing.
She failed both.
In yet another tragic case that could have ended in massive fatality, not seen since a deadly school shooting, one woman in Milwaukee drove drunk and crashed with 11 children in a van on the way home. Now here's that sad story, but keep in mind, 11 children.
5, a drunk driving crash involving a woman and 11 children caught the attention of so many.
And now this morning, the Milwaukee mother is scheduled to be sentenced today. Nick Montez is live at the Milwaukee County Courthouse with a look ahead. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning. Yeah, Kira Kirk drove drunk with 11 kids in her SUV. 5 of them sustained minor injuries, and now she'll learn what lies ahead. This exclusive video shows a crash at the Marquette interchange last June. At the wheel, Kira Kirk, who drove with 11 kids in the backseat of this SUV. 7 of them were her children. Kirk's mother, Angela, says she made a mistake.
I could care less about people being outraged because they don't know my daughter.
Kirk told police, "I'm drunk, arrest me. I hurt my babies."
This was a stupid mistake that she shouldn't have made. But I don't think that they should keep her for this.
Police say the 32-year-old mother was twice the legal limit when she slammed into the wall and rolled her vehicle. Sheriff David Clark says Kirk is lucky that she didn't kill or seriously injure her children.
To put that many people at risk in this situation, and as I indicated, it was the perfect storm for a terrible tragedy.
And Kirk faces up to 11 years in prison. Her sentencing is scheduled for 8:30 this morning. On your side in Milwaukee, Nick Montes for today's team.
While some of these accidents took place in broad daylight, the remainder occurred after the bars closed and mothers were on their way home with their children in tow, either from a babysitter or in the back seat without seatbelts. In this next case, Mrs. Carol Salgado chose to drive drunk with her 2 children in the back seat of her car.
Accused of driving drunk with her 2 young children in the car was in court this morning to face those charges. NBC 10's Sierra Putman is in Providence outside of District Court. Sierra?
Well, hi, Frank. Carol Salgado actually tried to hide her face this morning when she faced a judge. The 29-year-old mother is accused of drunk driving with her 2 young children in the back seat. Now, this in court, we finally got a glimpse of her face after the court proceedings, but as you can see in this other shot, the 29-year-old mother held up paper to shield her image from the camera. Now, Rhode Island State Police tell NBC 10 they arrested Salgado Sunday, March 29th at about 3:20 in the morning after she swerved out of her lane. Troopers report Salgado failed several field sobriety tests and refused to take a breath test. Her 5 and 3-year-old sons were in the back seat at the time, and officers say they were not properly buckled in.
Not guilty, please.
Now, Salgado was released on her own personal recognizance, and she's due back in court at the end of the month. As for those 2 little boys, at last check, DCYF was involved, and they were in the care of a family member. Reporting live in Providence, Sierra Putman, NBC 10 News.
As I said before, one of the highest incidents of drunk driving crashes involved mothers over the holiday weekends, with special emphasis on the 4th of July holiday weekend. Now, this next case will make you understand the reasoning behind DWI checkpoints set up as simply not something to harass the everyday driver, not something just to harass the general public. Now, in many of these cases, the mom's blood alcohol level is 2 to 4 times above the national legal limit of intoxication. And if it were not for these particular checkpoints, those children would be dead.
With a drink at the soccer game or social gathering with other parents, but studies show more women are getting busted for driving drunk, and all too often they have their kids in the car with them.
Yeah, shake your head on that one. Tonight, 7 Action News reporter Ronnie Dahl takes a look at the dangerous trend and one judge's efforts to try to stop it.
I'm going to have you do a couple simple little tests for me.
It's the 4th of July holiday weekend when a corporal with the Wayne County Sheriff's Department spots a car speeding with the headlights off. He suspects the person may be intoxicated and administers a field sobriety test. The driver, a mother, and in the car, her 2 daughters, 7 and 15 years old. She is given a breathalyzer and blows a .126. This mother is not alone.
We need to continue to make the community aware of this problem.
Angel Harris is a victim services specialist with Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
This is a rampant issue. It's not just a couple of moms having a drink. This is going on every day in your neighborhood, in your community.
In May of this year, Shamika Allen was pulled over near Waddles Road in Troy for speeding. Police say the Pontiac mom was drunk with 4 kids in the car. In April, Pamela Marie Kroll was arrested for driving with a blood alcohol content over 4 times the legal limit. Police say the 47-year-old Orion Township mom had her 9-year-old son in the back seat at the time.
We leave you now with the saddest case of them all, and that is a case in which a mother is almost too comatose to be aware of her own surroundings with her child in the back seat. For Investigative Report, this is Charles Rivers. We thank you for watching.
I will kill you. I will kill you.
You got to see this, a new dash cam video showing the arrest of a Boynton Beach mother driving erratically with her toddler inside the car. Deputies say the woman failed several sobriety tests and her young child the whole time was in the backseat of that car without a seatbelt.
911, what is the address of your emergency?
I have a drunk woman with 2 kids in the back seat.
An attentive tow truck driver stays on the phone with an emergency dispatcher in Palm Beach County until deputies arrive at Belvedere and Haverhill Roads.
Oh my God! Oh, she was up to the end of the car.
When the deputy gets there, sirens blaring, the woman pulls over. The deputy talks to the driver, Brandy Lerma, for nearly 20 minutes. Then, backup arrives and a toddler is taken out of that car. Watch the sobriety test.
Maybe a little.
How much have you had to drink?
A couple of fireballs.
A couple of fireballs?
Yeah, 2 cups.
2 cups?
Like this big.
The deputy asks Lerma to follow his pen with her eyes, but she can't even stand still and stumbles to the side. Next, she's instructed to walk along a white line.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
She fails this test and another. Lerma is handcuffed and put in the cruiser.
You had too many fireballs.
No, you don't know what I had.
You told me.
Then things get worse.
I will kill you. I will kill you.
Stop kicking my car.
I don't care.
But she remembers there's something that needs to be cared for.
Oh, it's clicking on my child. Oh, it's clicking on my child.
The Palm Beach Sheriff's Office says Lerma's blood alcohol level was more than double the legal limit. She now faces DUI and child abuse charges.